I'd like to sort of try to dig in and understand what's the difference between the online communities that are formed and the platforms on which those communities are formed.
Sure.
Is that important?
Yes, it is. It is. So, for example, a good design for an office is frequently you have, the commons, which is like the lunchroom or the gathering area. Then everybody else has a cave on the border they can kind of retreat to.
Cave in the comments. I love it. By the way, I was laughing internally about the heat versus work. I think that's gonna stick with me. That's such an interesting way to see Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, is this heat or is this thread? Like, because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
Is it just heat, or we're doing some is there a directed thing that's going to be productive at the end of the day?
That's right.
I love this. I'll never see different. I mean, anyway, the cave in the commons is a really nice. So that has to do with the layout of an office that's effective.
That's right. And so you can think of many kinds of social networks as being on the cave and commons continuum. For example, Twitter is just all commons. The caves are just like individual DMs or DM threads or whatever, but it's really basically just one gigantic global public fight club for the most part, right? Then you have...
Or love club.
Well, somewhat love, but mostly fight. Or actually, it's...
I love aggressively, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, the way I mean, Twitter is like a cross between, a library and a civil war, It's something where you can learn, but you can also fight if you choose to fight, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's because of the commons structure of it, it's a mechanism for virality of anything.
Yeah, so
you just described the kind of things that become viral.
Yeah, meaning no offense to librarians. It's like a library and Liberia. Liberia was racked by civil war for many years, right?
Libraries is one of my favorite sets for porn. Just kidding. Jokes. I'm learning, as that's probably crossing the line for the engineers working on this humor module. Maybe take that down a notch.
We're just talking about... Oh, yeah, so continue.
Twitter's
right?
the commons.
Yeah, so Twitter's the commons. Then Facebook is like, it's got all these warrens and stuff. Facebook, it's very difficult to reason about privacy on that. And the reason is, I think it's easy to understand when something is completely public, like Twitter, or completely private, like Signal. And those are the only two modes, I think, in which one can really operate. When something is quasi-private, like Facebook, you have to just kind of assume it's public. Because if it's interesting enough, it'll go outside your friend network and it'll get screenshotted or whatever and posted. And so, Facebook is sort of forced into default public despite its privacy settings. For anybody who says something interesting, if it's like, you can figure out all their dials and stuff like that, but just hard to understand unless it's totally private or totally public, right? You have to basically treat it if it's totally public, if it's not totally private. Okay, at least under a real name. I'll come back to pseudonym. So you've got Twitter, that's total commons. Facebook, which is like a warrens, it's like rabbit warrens or like an ant colony where you don't know where information is traveling. Then you've got Reddit, which has sort of your global Reddit and then all the subreddits. That's a different model of cave and commons. I think one of the reasons it works is that you have individual moderators where something is totally off topic and acceptable, totally off topic and unacceptable in this subreddit and totally on topic and acceptable in another. That's like kind of a precursor of the digital societies I think that we're going to see that actually are become physical societies, like lots and lots of subreddit-like things, become physical societies. Then you start going further into like Discord, where it's more full-featured than, as you go Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, now you jump into Discord, and Discord is a bunch of individual communities that are connected, and you can easily sort of jump between them, right? And then you have Slack, and yes, you can use Slack to go between different company Slacks, but Slack, historically at least, I'm not sure what their current policy is. Historically, they discourage public Slacks, so it's mostly like you have your main Slack for your company, and then you sometimes may jump into like let's say you've got a design consultant or somebody like that. You'll jump into their Slack, but Discord you've got way more Discords usually that you jump into than Slacks, right?